You are listening to the So Now What podcast with Lana Manikowski, episode number 52, Happy First Birthday. So now what? These three words raced through my mind time and time again during my journey through fertility treatments. I tried desperately to have a child, but never was able. I yearned for a community to join that could understand my struggles. I couldn't find one, so I created one with the So Now What podcast. I love that you found us. Hello. Welcome back to one of the most profound episodes that I ever recorded, because it is the 1 year anniversary of the So Now What podcast. And that's exactly why I'm coming to you a day later than I normally do. I usually have a new podcast episode every Tuesday, but I thought it would be special to record and upload everything on the actual 1 year anniversary of my first episode of the podcast. And to be honest with you, I struggled a lot about what to say on this episode. I created this imagery in my mind that it had to be the absolute mic drop and the thing that would just stop you in your tracks and make you want to listen more. And I realized that me showing up here every week is just an opportunity to give you a piece of me and something that you might be wanting to learn more about. And there is no episode that has to be a mic drop. I can just show up being genuinely me every week. And maybe you'll take what I offer, maybe you won't. And maybe it'll be a mic drop for you every week, and maybe it isn't. But what I decided to do this week is write a letter to the So Now What podcast. And here's what it said. Happy birthday. It's hard to know what you would have blossomed into when I hit publish on episode 1. I was so uncomfortable sharing my emotions that I felt, that I clung to after failing my last IVF cycle, and then finding out that my only frozen embryo had trisomy 16 and would never be viable for implantation. For years, I clung to this belief that my life would never feel truly full because I couldn't be the thing I dreamed of most and yearned for my whole life, to become a mom. Telling my story to the world felt like such a relief to me. I spent so much of my time wondering what other people believed about me and my childlessness for so long. I wondered if they were thinking that my marriage was on the fritz and that children would just complicate things. If they wondered that Jack and I were just too busy enjoying a baller lifestyle and too selfish to let kids slow us down. Or were they wondering if I was having trouble and that my body was broken? And were people feeling sorry for me? I spent so much of my energy worrying. And I thank you, podcast, for letting me tell my story and stop worrying about what people thought because I was showing up and telling my truth. I spent so much time being worried how I was perceived by others, and that feeling was exhausting. And I was exhausted of acting and feeling like I had to put on an air every day that I was invincible and I was strong and perfect and definitely not questioning my childlessness. I was exhausted of being the actor in my own life and never letting the world know who I am and what I'm capable of despite not being a mom. I love that creating you became the relief that others were looking for. And that when I experienced something and shared it with the world, it was just what everyone needed to hear. I love that you give me an opportunity to tell my story so that others that are experiencing the feelings that I felt after IVF know that they're not alone in their struggle. You give me the gift each week of teaching the tools that I've used to make change in my life so infertile women everywhere can create change for themselves and feel in control of their future again. I've learned that feeling my feelings of question or discomfort about my value that I offer each week on each episode doesn't have to stop me from showing up, Thank you for offering me a forum of over 9,000 people that are searching for a message of hope, that it is possible to live your life in a way that you truly love, even if you're not a mom. So I thank you, So Now What Podcast, for making me accountable and making me show up every week and be consistent. But more importantly, thank you for letting me realize that my story does not have to end at infertility. My story can be greater and reach more people if I find the courage within me to tell it and share it and stop being embarrassed and judging my body for what I thought it was designed to do. Thank you for every single one of you that shows up here every week and listens to a story that you can relate to and that you can learn from and grow from. So happy birthday, So Now What Podcast. It seems strange wishing a happy birthday to something that doesn't exist, but this is something that exists for me, and this is something that I feel like I gave birth to, even though it's not a human child. And I want you to entertain the opportunity that maybe you can have something in your life that you create or a practice that you begin that will give you this sense of accomplishment that you are so worthy of. And think about the possibilities that seem so non-existent when your brain, that is just humanly wired to tell you a story that ends in a shoulder shrug and a message of uncertainty because you just didn't meet anyone that offered you a concept that seemed exciting and worth dreaming about again. But I want you to know that the life that you dreamed of is waiting for you. And in one short year, if I could make this much change in my life, I know that this change is possible for you too. You can do anything that you want to do because you already possess every perfect gift you need within you right now. And it's just the fact that nobody has ever given you the tools to believe differently about your story and about your future. And imagine where you can be 1 year from now if you decide that you're willing to take a chance on you and you are ready and willing to feel alive and excited again. Imagine how it would feel if you believed that your story wasn't sad and you weren't the worst case scenario anymore. So even if we've never met, I want you to know that I believe in you and I know that you can thrive again, that there is something so magnificent that is waiting for you to just unfold for it. You have every perfect gift within you to be the most valued person in your own life. And I can't tell you what a relief it feels to actually know that I no longer have to feel defeated by my infertility. And I know that you are capable of feeling that too, even if you couldn't become a mom. So if you're ready, I want you to know that I've got you. You are just in time to join the next Thrive After Infertility Mastermind. If you haven't heard about Thrive, I want to tell you that it is a 3-month small group class that will help you learn the tools and how to apply them in your life so that you can go from feeling disappointed and confused to fulfilled and purposeful. And I can't wait to show you how, because I can tell you that if I can find the courage and the strength to tell my story and help so many people navigate their futures just by hearing me tell it, you can do the same with yourself in your life. And that when you decide that your story does not have to be sad anymore, and that your story can be one of triumph and fulfillment, your life will just start to naturally unfold for you. And I can't wait for you to experience that, because I can tell you it has been the greatest sense of freedom to find the courage to tell my story and no longer hide behind who I really was because I felt shameful that my body didn't do what I believed it was supposed to do. So I love you and I thank you for supporting us for these last 52 episodes. For every single person who's written a review and given me a 5-star rating, You make my life feel so full, and I thank you for that. Have an awesome week, and remember, it is never too late to discover your meaning. Can't wait to talk to you next week.